We are playing Stranded Alien Dawn on a hard difficulty. And here is the recap of the playthrough with tricks and suggestions. The first tip, only pick hard difficulty if you have a monster PC. When you reach 1500 scarab spawns, game will become a slideshow. Now that we got this out of the way, let's start. Give a weapon to the most skilled in combat to minimize missed shots. Start scavenging the drop pod and assign observation to the eatable crops. Also search for grain-producing plants, your bread and butter, because it is used for all sorts of things and antibiotics. Assign activities based on skills. Skills can be trained most of the times, with few exceptions. To level skills, just follow skill description and assign the task as a priority, simple as that. Build a shelter, sleeping spots, campfire and research desk. Research desk needed to reach antibiotics as soon as possible before winter and pneumonia starts hitting hard. Do a small stockpile before you're ready to settle, and try to avoid gathering too much food if you're planning on relocating. This will save you time on moving things around. Once a desired spot is found, start relocating. Ideally, you want as flat surface as possible for clear line of sight for shooting. Any elevation blocks the view of the shooter or turret. But, if you have a cliff above you, you can use it to your advantage, blocking the few narrow paths on the way down. Just as in any tower defense, mobs follow a path of less resistance at the game start. But not all. Later there will be insects which will chew the way through, instead of running around the fence. Those you will need to kite around towards entrance or a choke point with turrets. On hard difficulty, you want to clear bugs before they come to you. Depending on weapons, you can either clear all or part and kite the rest to the traps to slow or kill the remaining. You also want to set up a gasoline trap at the center of the spawn for future. The spawn points remain the same unless you expand the base. Jumping ahead, this and red ones will ignore entrance and will go through, destroying walls, to reach the survivors. That is why you need survivors outside of your base, and have turrets on a power switch. If turret hits this ones, they rush towards turrets right away. Kite them to a desired location first, and under turrets kill zone after. Best way to counter is to have hunter with a sniper rifle, and rest with pulse rifles in checkboard setup. Pulse rifles, even though have low damage, stun all mobs in a cone in front doing 5 damage. Also, pulse rifles give massive experience, since they hit multiple targets simultaneously. And this is how endgame looks like. Base is designed to withstand even with one survivor who just flips a switch. In case of solar flares, labyrinth full of traps does a trick when bugs are kited with a survivor around the base. Recommended setup is: laser turrets are activated by motion sensors and located on max distance from one another to deal with hungry insects spawning and to kill mobs wandering into a traps around the base. Machine gun turrets are on switch on the wall to save power. Rocket turrets can be used as well, on a switch. But they damage structures and traps. And if you planted an explosive mine at spawn location previously, it will take care of most of the hundreds of spawn insects anyway. And my favorite, flying bugs. The best way to deal is to lure those to turrets. In some cases you can pull them in small packs and use aim tactics as versus ground mobs. But most of the times it is easier to sacrifice few turrets to save survivors. Yeah, sure, if you survive to see the night. In terms of construction and sheltering for the winter, you can survive with just shelter and campfires next to sleeping spots and campfires behind workstations if antibiotics or first aid are plenty. Wooden cabins, when cold snaps hit, barely make any difference. So push towards brick cabins as soon as possible. As you can see, takes a lot of heaters to heat up small wooden cabin on hard difficulty. Totally love the weather changes. Carbon nanotubes are easily obtainable from the nests, and nest can be cleared with just one sniper. The only thing about nests, at the beginning they are super far away, so you will have to manually control miner by forcing them to sleep, eat and mine multiple nodes. Panoramic windows are real bad at keeping heat, but there was a patch so needs verification. In terms of farming, there will be one new playthrough and video on normal to find optimum size of fields. But even on hard you do not need too much effort when comes to food. In conclusion, I would recommend playing on normal no to deal with huge number of insects, unless you have a monster PC. For pleasant experience and if you want to go creative on construction it is recommended to play on normal. I will try to make an interesting playthrough to check new patch. So, if you want to follow, thank you. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions. Other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for likes and comments.